Everyone, please get settled. We're starting with the session. We're already running late by 13 minutes. So we need to wrap it up so that you can go home on time. Okay, so the next session that we're going to have is performing UX review on technical documentation, and it will be given by Sudhir Subudhi. Sudhir was here yesterday as well, and he had given us a session yesterday about. Give me a sec. What was it about?
Exam.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, yesterday he had given us a document, establishing documentation as a practice in Agile. So another interesting session by Sudhir. So I look forward to being a part of it. So let's get started, and a huge round of applause for Sudhir, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody. Am I audible to all? Yes. Okay. So welcome to this session, and it's titled as Performing UX Review on Documentation Deliveries. So if you can recall, our chief guest yesterday has said that whole technical writing industry is targeting to have good user experience in whatever it delivers. Okay. So user experience, okay, it's a buzzword these days actually. So companies across industries, they are trying to deliver these things. For example, whatever they deliver, their products, services, solutions with good user experience. They have even started creating UX teams in their own organizations. So what this team looks at, they employ many kinds of techniques, practices, processes, so that everything that they deliver will go with good user experience. So one of this process is called UX review or user experience review. It is also known as heuristic review or expert review, right? So as a documentation representative, I too think that we deliver content, information, data or documentation as a product, as a part of a product, as a service or as a solution. So that's how I think that we must have this kind of reviews with us in our process, right? So through this presentation, we'll discuss what is user experience, just to set a little context, and then we'll discuss some of the initial strategies, okay, to set up this process better in our organizations, right? And then we'll discuss some review dimensions and metrics using which we can actually review our content products, okay? Then we'll have a look at a UX review sheet and UX scorecard that I have prepared. Actually, I have compiled, which you can always use, and organizations can also use to assess their content, okay? So throughout this session, we can take any questions. Seems good? Okay. So let's start. So what is exactly user experience? In your view, I would like to invite a couple of views first. Mike, we need. Yeah.
Basically deals with users' satisfaction levels regarding achieving a task.
Exactly. Any other views? Yeah. Any other views on user experience? What is it? Sorry. Yeah, please. You were saying something?
What a person goes through by doing.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. So it's generic. I think the word itself is generic. Okay. It's the way the user experiences things. It's the reaction. It's the responses. Okay. It's the satisfaction level or dissatisfaction level, whatever. Right. So let's have a look at 3 of the comments. Okay. So after this kind of these users went through some kind of information product. Number 1, it says, one person says, you know what, this video I saw on YouTube, it was amazing. You got to see this, I'll send you the link. The second person says, I just gave a 5-star rating to that blog. It was awesome. Third person says, there was this topic, it helped me set up my email app. It was perfect. So I would say, well, this is user experience. What it targets is that it targets for the users to have desire for things, have it again and again, consume it again and again, and share it with others, right? So does that apply to us, to content industry? Yes, of course, right? So it is actually a well-known, concept that is called information experience. It has already become a practice, which means that information or content plus user experience. What it targets is that it targets, to write content at right time and, through proper mediums with the user preferences in mind it wants to deliver. Any comments here? Okay.
It can be negative also.
Exactly.
If we take it in the right spirit, we have plenty to learn from. I can speak loud enough.
Still.
Okay. I just said that the user experiences that he has put down on this slide are all positive. They can
Okay.
also be negative. And
Yes.
we need to take the best out of that and learn from them.
Exactly. That is true. Alright? So these are the experiences. Good or bad doesn't matter, but these are the experiences. Right? Any other comments? So, as now we have already set a little bit context about user experience, now let's move forward and discuss some initial strategies that we can follow to set up the UX review process in our organizations. Right? Number one is that we need to engage content design experts to perform the UX review. Higher the UX score, higher the adaptability of the product. We can say that. Number two, set the right target for information experience. That is what we just discussed. Delivering right content at right time through proper mediums with the user preferences in mind. So I think you have heard a comment that nobody reads a user manual. Is it correct? Have you ever heard it? All right. Okay. So you must have gained some knowledge from that. So what is your experience? What is in your view, why somebody doesn't read a user manual? Why people say, even if they need the content, right? So why is that? It may be because that we are not delivering the same thing through proper mediums at right time and in the way the users want it. Might be, right? I think that is applicable here as well. Right? Next is visualize as personas. What is a persona? A persona is a profiled user. It's a type of user with some demographic traits, with some personality traits, with some knowledge level, with some preferences, some drivers, and so on. So given on screen, shown on screen is a persona of loving mom. Okay, it's a kind of template. So you can fill in the template and prepare a persona card. So likewise, you can prepare many persona cards and use it while you review the content. Any questions here? Okay. Now let's move on and see some other strategy. So this is defining dimensions and quantifying metrics under them. Right? So there is a management rule goes by. If we cannot quantify something, we cannot measure it, so that we cannot have it. So if we are targeting user experience, we need to quantify it so that we can measure it, so that we can have it. Let's read this example. It's a discussion between Joe and Christina. Right? Joe says the article was good. Christina says, really? She's confused. But when Joe says it got 300 likes, 20 shares and 11 downloads in 2 days flat, Christina says, yeah, it was good. So what made all the difference? It's quantification, figures, statistics, right? Metrics. So moving forward, let's discuss some of the review dimensions and metrics, using which we can actually assess our content products and give it a rating. Number one is persuasion, right? So the content design must take care of the cognitive, predictable cognitive patterns of the brains of the users. Okay, it should persuade the user to use it and fulfill their objectives, and it must provide a guided path for them as well. That is what called perception. Let's have persuasion. Let's have an example. So this example I found on slideshare.net. So there is no background graphic on the title slide. It only says earn more and make your client happy with this awesome pricing technique. So I was looking for some pricing technique, okay, and it has tweaked its title and subtitle in such a way that it has become more specific and it targeted my objective. So I was looking for it and it says the same thing. So I wanted to browse it further. That's why I gave it a good rating on persuasion. Any questions here on persuasion? Okay. Now let's move on to another dimension, which is called effort and interaction. The users must have a effortless experience while browsing the content, okay, while searching the content or while navigating the content, right? All the information, all kinds of data information must be quantified. This must be configured in the product, and this must be linked so that we can access this through navigational utilities, okay? And the content, the structure must be lean and optimal. Let's have an example here. So I found this web form on internet, and while filling in the form, what I found is that it's asking me too much of information. There is first name, middle name, username, email, last name, password. So what I felt exhausting. What if I will provide some less information and can get the job done? That's why I gave it a negative rating on effort and interaction. Okay? There is another dimension that is called comprehension and consumption. The users must be able to comprehend things, comprehend the content and use it, consume it, right? And the content must use appropriate design patterns and style guides. We all are technical writers, so think if something is not written by following the style guide, everything gets messed up, right? And the content must be valuable as well. So these are a couple of metrics. You can add more metrics to it when you evaluate your content, right? Let's see an example. So this is example in which the user, okay, the writer uses a chart or graph to show the documentation through SDLC lifecycle, right? So I went through it and couldn't understand anything. So I went through it a couple of times. Then I understood it, right? So that's why I gave it a negative rating on comprehension and consumption. Had they used some other type of graph, I could have understood easily and more faster. Okay? Any questions here? Okay. Another dimension is called power. The users must feel that they are in control of the document. The interactions must be yielding some result. Okay, and the users must achieve their objectives speedily, and they must get all kinds of options within their reach. That's how they will feel powerful. Let's have an example. This is the web page I found on the internet on Bajaj two-wheeler site. But I found that at the center there is information. At the top, bottom and right side menus, there are plenty of options. Whatever I need is there. 360-degree views, full specification, user reviews, dealer locators, everything is there. Whatever I needed is there. So I felt powerful, okay. So I gave a good rating on power. Now let's have a look at another dimension that is called emotion. So these days we are we can say that it's an advertising world, right? And the advertisements comes with plenty of emotions, even if the actual content is not there, right? So the products, even information products, that creates a artificial requirement for us that whatever the information or content we are providing, that must have some emotions in it, just to compete with those, okay, at some level. So whatever we develop, okay, that should make an instant connection with the user, and it must arouse the feelings of attraction, excitement, exploration, and fulfillment, right? Let's have a look at this example. I found this example on Flipkart.com, and this is an advertisement of a binoculars. So when I saw it, what I saw is that there is a child looking at a distant object, okay, and using the binocular with giving some emotions of excitement. So that directly connected with me. So I wanted to browse this further. That's why I gave it a good rating on emotion. Next, trust and brand perception. Whatever content we develop, it must look professional, okay, and the content must be safe and trustworthy to use. It must be trendy, must not be outdated. It's not that we will provide information of some older version, okay, so most recent. And then it must be, we must see that other people are also using it. Have you ever seen any blog or any content review, product review, where you like to see how many other users have liked it, how many other users have shared it. So that generates trust, okay. So we are going to that kind of scenarios, that kind of world. Let's have an example. So this is a web page from yatra.com I found. So on the left pane, if you see, it lists a number of statistics, number of metrics, how many hotel chains it is associated with, how many people likes it, and there is also a link to Facebook likes page. So it builds trust, okay. So that's why I gave it a good rating on trust and brand perception, right? So any questions here? So these are the 6 dimensions that we discussed, and I gave you examples, and under each dimensions I've specified some metrics, right? So you can develop your own metrics, add to it, and assess your content products. What I did is that through this UX review sheet, I just did the same. I compiled those, added it here, added some more metrics, okay, and made it a document. So I made this document. It's a matrix of 60 plus metrics or criteria spread across 6 dimensions, right? It's a 8 to 9 page document, but here I can show only 1 page, all right? So for example, for a particular metric or criteria, you can assess the product and give it a rating on a scale of 1 through 5, write your comment, okay, or error, whatever you find, give a linked, a principal link, so that by what perception, by what rules you found that this is actually error, all right? And then you can also suggest a solution to them, recommend a solution. So after you complete all these steps, assess your product through all these 60 or 70 metrics, you can use this UX scorecard to report it. You can average it out and report it. And for the report would come with a scale, a score, 1 through 5. 1 would mean there is no UX at all. Yeah.
Don't you think it's always a tough job to get feedback from the users for documentation?
Sorry, I couldn't get it.
Don't you think it's always a tough job to get the feedback from the users for documentation?
Tough job.
Yeah. I mean, most of the users don't respond to surveys that we send out.
Okay.
Is there any other alternative for this?
Surveys these days are common. Okay. So if people do not respond to it, what would you do, right? That's a strategy the organizations must use. They must develop some of the strategies to have the users. For example, nowadays companies pay the users actually. You might have seen paid reviews, right? So people pay the users, companies pay the users, They attract the users come and sit in their own lab and they browse the product. So that is a part of user testing, I think. Right? So user review, UX review is a part of, is done after the designing phase. The experts do it inside the project team. But when the product is released, the actual users do it. That is called user testing. Right? There could be many other strategies as well. But it has to be done. Okay. Any other questions? So a rating of 2 would mean that poor UX. A rating of 3 would mean that partial UX is there. A rating of 4 would mean that it meets requirements, user experience requirements. A rating of 5 would say it exceeds all kinds of requirements, expectations, right? And it also lists some of the, some metrics, breakdown structure of the matrix.
How do you decide on the weightage that you give?
Yeah.
How do you decide on the weightage that you give to each of these parameters?
Okay, it's up to you. You have to rate it from 1 through 5. Okay, you can rate it from 1 through 5. So it mentions, the UX review sheet mentions, you can give it a rating of 1 if the metric is not met at all. You can give it a rating of 2 if the metric is met very poorly. You can give it a rating of 3 if its metric is partially met.
But with the final UX scorecard,
Yes.
how do you decide?
Okay, so there are 60 metrics. When you are giving metrics, ratings against each of the metric, then at the end you will average it out. Okay, so for persuasion dimension, I have got 2 out of 5. For this is an example, and it shows that overall rating is 2 out of 5. That is an example. Yeah.
So, I have a
Yes.
question. I mean, I came in late, so
Yeah,
I don't
no
know if I have
problem.
missed out anything or not. But with whatever I have, seen so far, I see that you have explained about, you have given your ratings based on, the advertisements and all these things.
Okay.
But how would I apply the same rules to a product, to an application, to a software product? See, for example, emotion. So emotion can't be a parameter to judge an application product. So to judge how good a product is from the UX perspective,
Okay.
so what do I do?
See, initially what happened that we were with usability, right? So you might have heard about usability. Okay. Usability speaks a system out. Okay. So for persuasion dimension, I have got 2 out of 5. For this is an example, and it shows that overall rating is 2 out of 5. That is an example. Yeah.
So I have a
Yes.
question. I mean, I came in late, so
Yeah,
I don't
no
know if I have
problem.
missed out anything or not. But with whatever I have, seen so far, I see that you have explained about, you have given your ratings based on, the advertisements and all these things.
Okay.
But how would I apply the same rules to a product, to an application, to a software product? See, for example, emotion. So emotion can't be a parameter to judge an application product. So to judge how good a product is from the UX perspective,
Okay.
so what do I do?
See, initially what happened that we were with usability, right? So you might have heard about usability. Okay. Usability speaks a systems perspective. Okay. And user experience is quite opposite. It's targeting the same thing but opposite direction. You said that we are developing something software, okay, some software, and we cannot add emotions there. Okay. I am saying it from a user perspective. I am using a software. Let's say MS Excel. I am using it. I have to prepare a chart or something. Okay. I have to like it. Whatever it shows, I have to like it. If I do not like it, then I want to use some alternative software. Right? So it's up to us how it, how the developers of Microsoft Excel make it so that I can like it. Right? Might be, when I start MS Excel, it's a welcome. I liked it. Okay. It just invited me. It's aroused some emotions in me. Okay. It welcomes me. That's a part of emotion. So we can, that's why I said, dimensions are there, metrics are there. We need to quantify it. Right? If we cannot, like this question, answer to this question, if we cannot quantify it, we can say it's there. If you cannot quantify it, you can say it's not there. Like you said, it's not there. Any other questions?
Yeah. To add to his question, when you do the testing with the users, now I've seen some where they actually come to your labs and they
Yes.
test. Now, having the users walk through the UI is easier.
Okay.
It's quick. But if you want them to read your, say, a few topics in the online help, for example, and then that's a very time-consuming process. So how would you really have their views on the help, and then you would go? So it's a very time-consuming.
So you are saying
process.
about the user testing process, user testing when the product is
Usability.
released.
Or even in between, before, like say you have a release, and before the release, in your lab, you call the users
So you are
to
saying
read
about
through the documents, for
Okay.
example.
You are saying about it's a very time-consuming process, so let's avoid it. I would say not do that.
Not avoid your strategies for.
Okay, strategies. Okay, you want my strategies. So there could be many strategies. You can develop your own as a project, or you can search for many existing strategies and then deploy it. Right. So it has to be done. The thing is that it has to be done, as you are saying. If there is a time crunch, so we can deploy some better strategies, but we have to do it.
Can this be one such test? I might sound very naive on that, but an answer to her question. It's not an answer, but can this just validate if this can
Yeah, please,
serve as
please.
a strategy? I want you to validate on it. Now let's assume in my online help I have one functionality which I have explained.
Okay.
So using the application, seeing the document, can the user use the application the way the documentation is done? Can this be one such strategy of testing our online help?
Yeah, exactly. So the testers actually do that in product companies. In product companies, they are asked to follow the documentation and use the complete the task, so that the software is also tested and the document is also tested. Yeah. So right there we can capture some metrics, the reactions. So it's already inside a process. Thank you. Right? Okay. So this was all about my session, and if you find further queries, so there is a LinkedIn group that I have created. You can start discussion there, and I will be happy to respond it right there. You can even communicate to me. Okay. You can search my name on LinkedIn and you can communicate to me, right? Okay. Thank you for attending. Any further questions? Yeah.
Pass the mic, please.
Just to add to the question that you had asked. So at VMware we have an annual conference called VMworld. What we did was we have a space for hands-on labs, and over there we basically set up a usability booth, and we were giving out Amazon vouchers. It was a very small amount, like $5 or something like that. And then we are like, so we are looking at new strategies in documentation. For instance, we are exploring video, looking at different ways in which documentation can be generated. And we were actually picking up users who were doing these labs. So they were involved in the product, and then they were responding to us in terms of how our documentation looks or whether it appeals to whatever they're doing. So that's how we collected data. We collected close to 60, 70 odd responses over 2-3 days. That was really good data that was helping us decide on our strategy. So that's one way of looking at it. And then the other thing is to actually call people and do the testing at your premises. So that's just to add.
Okay, thank you too.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay, we have a question there. Could you please, Mayur?
My question is, you've mentioned all the parameters to be considered when you are conducting this review. So, the UX review thing. So, do you think having less number of parameters is an advantage or a disadvantage?
It's a disadvantage. As many parameters you will make, so it will make the system more better and better, more specific.
But then you won't be able to cover all the factors, right? That will be very much of overview thing.
No. You have to, I have said a couple of parameters,
Yeah.
but you can still break these things down to even more specific ones.
Okay.
All right? So that you can have, you can judge your product better, specifically.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. The more the list is, in any form, in any field, Okay, the more the number of criteria are, the better the result is. Right.
Okay, thank you very much, Sudhir, for taking this session and giving us such insightful knowledge. So as a token of appreciation on behalf of STC, I would like to give you this certificate and memento. Thank you very much.